Facebook Live. I'm Dr. Banks. Welcome to the Empowerment Embassy. We're excited. Do we have any kings in the building? Yes. Hey, you come at the right time. We're getting ready to do our King's Declaration. So please recite these with us. The first one, as a king, I believe I am designed to reign.
As a king, I believe I am designed to reign.
One more time, what?
As a king, I believe I am designed to reign.
The next one, as a king, I am a disruptor.
As a king, I am a disruptor.
Say it again, what?
As a king, I am a disruptor.
And the last one, as a king, I will protect my soul.
As a king, I will protect my soul.
One more time.
As a king, I will protect my soul.
All right, you may be seated. All right. Like I said, this month, the whole world is focusing on suicide. So I thought it was just befitting that us as ambassadors understand more about this topic so we can get an understanding to make sure that we are taken care of as well as our loved ones are taking care of it as well. So we're going to be talking about Kingdom Downloads on exposing and educating you on the topic of suicide. Now, when I was in college, both Cindy and I have degrees in psychology. I think we had a class that pertained to this subject. But we did study it. But I really took some time to spend time in the head country. So everything that I'm going to be sharing with you today is strictly what God revealed to me about this topic. I didn't do a lot of research. I did research as far as the stats and statistics, but I really went to the head country and really wanted to get some insight. So I think you would be informed and really try to make it where you can really kind of understand how this thing works, what happens to people that deal with this. So I tried to break it down to make sure that you understand. All right, so let's look at these things. Let's look at some statistics. It says that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. for all ages. Look at this. There is one death by suicide in the U.S. every 12 minutes. Depression affects 20 to 25% of Americans ages 18 plus in a given year. The highest suicide rate in the U.S. are among whites, American Indians, and Alaskan natives. Nearly 800,000 people die by suicide in the world each year, which is roughly one death every 40 seconds. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in the world for those ages 15 to 24 years. Look at this. Tennessee recorded 1,110 suicide deaths in 2016. The rate stayed above the national average. Suicide increased in kids ages 10 to 18, with one dying every week. Look at this one. Suicide among males is 4 times higher than among females. Males' deaths represent 79% of all suicide deaths. Firearms, the most common used method in suicide among males, 56%. Now look at this. Females are more likely than males to have suicidal thoughts. Females experience depression a roughly 2 times the rate of men. Females attempt suicide 3 times as often as males. Poison is the most common method of suicide for females. suicide rates for females are highest among those ages 45 to 54. Suicide rates among the elderly are highest for those who are divorced or widowed. Look at this. Suicide occurs among Christians are essentially the same rate as non-Christians. So, I mean, we're not talking about something that we can easily say, well, we exempt. Nobody's exempt from it. So I wanted to give you a perspective to let you see how prevalent this situation is. So let's look at this. Take some notes here. Like I said, all of this came from the head country. Suicide is essentially this: to intentionally take one's life due to a misbelief. To intentionally take one's life due to a what?
Misbelief.
A misbelief. Now, suicide can occur two ways. First, instantly. But here's another one. It can occur over time. For example, addictions, unhealthy habits, and a pattern of bad decisions. We normally look at suicide, either a person attempts it or a person carries through. But my friend, you gotta also understand that suicide can occur over time. People that are in addictions. It's a slow suicide. They didn't do it overnight, but based on their habits and their choices, they are ultimately dying by suicide. Because what it says, to intentionally do what? Take one's life through a misbelief. Either that can be quickly, instantly, or it can be done over time. All right. Now, here's the scripture that I want us to really look at. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23 through 27. Verse 23 says, what? Keep thine heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of what? Life. Put away from thee a wayward mouth, perverse lips. Put far from thee. Let thine eyes look straight right ahead. Let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Make level the path of your feet. And let all the ways be established. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove your foot from evil. So the first part, it says what? Guard or keep thine heart. Keep thine heart basically means to protect your soul. Write that down. That's in our Constitution. That is our responsibility, is to protect and guard your soul. Now, your soul is set up in three: mindset, will, and emotions. Mindset, will, and emotions. So this scripture says your responsibility, you need to guard those, because out of those is the issue of life. So it says you need to safeguard yourself. You need to protect yourself in a way where basically not stop being negative. Stay focused. Make sure that you are on the path towards your destiny. Don't get distracted. These are some pertinent things we need to understand. right, so we got 3 cups, which represents these 3. First, we have your mindset. Then we have your will. Then we have emotions. All right? Now, let's look at this. The truth. 3 John 1:4. 3 John chapter 1 verse 4 says, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking how? Walking how? In the truth. In the truth. John 8:31 and 32 says, to the Jews who have believed him, Jesus said, if you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth. And what happens? The truth will what? Set you free. I love that. First, 3 John 1 says, I have no greater joy to hear that my children are walking in the truth. Now, going back to suicide, what do we say suicide, the definition? To intentionally do what? Take one's life due to what?
Misbelief.
A misbelief, or basically a lie. That's why it's so important that you stay true to the truth. Because when you stay to the truth, it will safeguard you from suicide. Now, let's break this down. The truth about you. Your mindset. Which one is this one? The mindset. All right? Now, 1 Corinthians 2 verse 16 says, for who has understood the mind of the Lord so as to instruct him, but we have what?
The mind of Christ.
We have the mind of Christ. So, inside of your mind is located your identity. So the essence, the depth of your mindset, that's where your true identity is located. When God created man in Genesis 1, and he created him, he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Man became a living being. Inside of his mind dwelt his identity. His identity. All right? So, now, let's talk about your will. Proverbs 20, verse 5 says, the purpose in a man's heart, when we just talk about heart, is like deep waters, but a man of understanding will what? Will draw it out. So, the depth of your, the inside depth of your will, that's where your purpose is located. That's where your purpose is located. Because, remember Jesus? He said, it's not my will, but who? It's thine will that is done in my life. Basically, I don't get to really do what I think I want to do. I need to make sure that I do what I'm designed to do. Your ultimate purpose is your ultimate will in your life. That's why it's important that you discover it. So that's the truth about your will is your purpose. The truth about your mindset is knowing your identity. That's the location. Your will is the location of your purpose. The next thing is your emotions. Romans 14:17 says, for the kingdom of God is not a matter of eating and drinking, but of what? Righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Ghost. That's the essence of your emotions. Is peace and joy. So when you put all of these together, it says, guard your heart, for out of it flows the issues of life. The issues of life is this. First, knowing your identity, walking in your purpose, and living with peace and joy. That's the essence of life right there. Knowing who you are, knowing your identity, fulfilling your purpose, and living this life in peace and joy. I'm going to look like that this afternoon, knowing that I have done my assignment today. Now, that's the location of peace and joy. All right, everybody got that? Let's talk to me again. The mindset. What's the total essence of your mindset is what?
Identity. Location of
Knowing your true identity. What's the essence of your will?
location of
Your
your
will and purpose.
Knowing your purpose. And the essence of your emotions? Location of peace and joy. All right? Now, the result of not guarding these, because your whole focus is what? Is to guard these. Guard your mindset, guard your purpose, and guard to make sure you walk in peace and joy. But if you don't guard these, things happen. Now, since we haven't been taught this, we have left these things open. We've left these things open, and we have not spent really time first knowing them, and we definitely have not spent a lot of time guarding them. So this is the result. What happens when you don't guard these? This is what happens. Unguarded soul. Your mind. Yeah, got some of these. These represents negative mindsets. What else I got? Holding on to what? Old painful memories, regrets. What am I talking about? This right here. So, when these things start filling in, holding on to old mindsets, having a negative perception of yourself, guess what is drowning out? What is it drowning out?
identity.
Your true identity. So instead of you truly believing how you design, guess how you start getting your identity?
Based on all that stuff.
Based on all of this other stuff. See this? So you allow all of this negativity to flood your mind. And then you end up start looking back over your life and say, man, I wish that I would have done this.
Right.
How many of y'all know how that?
Yes.
Yes.
Holding on to these things. Guess what it does? It starts putting weight on this.
Yes.
And it crowds out your true identity. See? That's what happens to this one in your mind. You start pulling on and start believing all these things. Now, if you didn't already know your identity and these start coming, you see how easy it is for people to believe this
Right.
rather than the truth. You see? Because most people have not ever understood who they really are.
Right.
So they tend to allow, these are people. Write this down. People's opinion.
Okay.
People's opinion. I had to fight against this because my dad, he was loving, he was a provider. I'll say that. He was a provider, but as far as speaking to my true identity, he didn't do that. So I had negative people in my life. You're never going to amount to anything. So if you don't know your true identity and these people start speaking this over you, guess what you're going to start eventually believing? What they say. So this is what starts happening. Now, like I said, it says, protect these things, for out of it flows the issues of life. All right? But if you got all of this negativity in here, how are you going to fully live when you got this thing clogging up? Not too well. So all of a sudden, you got all of these negative, holding on to all of these negative things in your mind. The next one is your will. Most people already don't know what their will is. So they start making some unhealthy decisions. Now, this is what I found out. When you don't really know what your purpose and how you were designed, you go searching for fulfillment. Write this down. Your purpose, fulfilling your purpose is your ultimate fulfillment. But since you don't know what your purpose is, you still got the desire to be fulfilled. So since you don't know what your purpose is, guess what? The enemy comes in and starts leading you down different addictive patterns. That's why addictions are so strong. Because addiction is basically a pseudo method of trying to get fulfilled. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get fulfilled. And see, that's why talking to someone that's addicted, you're looking at them and saying, why are you doing this? Do you see what it's doing? Well, guess what? They're not looking at it like that. Because what are they trying to do? I'm trying to get what? Fulfilled. I'm trying to get fulfilled. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that fulfillment. So they end up moving into addictive behaviors. All right? So they get addicted to these things. Guess what happens to their will? Gets locked down. And all type of addictions are very, very destructive patterns. Destructive patterns. And it causes to weigh you down. All right? Emotions. And what do we say the end result of emotions? You're supposed to be living how?
Peace and joy.
Peace and joy, my friend. You don't manage that to make sure you walk into that, and all of a sudden, you become what? Moody. You're not managing your emotions. And then you have a tendency to be drawn and attached to more negative emotions because there are more negative emotions than positive ones. So give me some negative emotions.
Anger.
Anger. Sad. Depression.
Frustrated.
Frustrated.
Fear.
Fear. So you have a tendency, instead of just feeling those types of emotions, you tend to live in those emotions. You don't just feel them, you tend to live in them. So guess what happens? It clogs you. So now you are sitting here dealing with all of these what? Negative emotions. Now, look at this. Look at all these. They're all clogged up. Now, guess what happens? Look at this last point. It says, once you are filled up with all of this negative, guess what happens? You start to believe a misbelief. And what is the misbelief? That life is what?
Meaningless.
and hopeless.
Meaningless and hopeless. So you start getting the mindset, why should I continue to keep living? Why should I keep living? Look at what's happening. Look at my mindset. I'm a nobody. Nobody loves me. So why should I continue? And then you start what? Entertaining the thoughts. Maybe I'm better off where?
Dead.
Because why? Look how I'm a nobody. I'm terrible. I am a failure. And look at this. Look at your will. You start believing, look, I'll never amount to anything. That's what they said. I'll never amount to anything. I'm a failure. I failed this. And see, your behavior starts to interpret it. So I start something, but what I do? I don't finish. I start school, I drop out. I start a job, and what?
Quit.
Quit. Why? Then you start being afraid to succeed. So you start, quit, start, quit, start, quit. And then the emotions. You burden down with all of these emotions, all of these negative emotions, depression, guilt, resentment. So you weight it down with all of these emotions. So you start this process of this misbelief that life is not important. Right? So I wanted to break this down so you can understand how this process happened. This is not an overnight process. It starts and it's a process. So all of a sudden a person feels like, why should I continue? Why should I continue? Nobody loves me. And see, it's all from a lie. It's all from a lie. But my friend, when you don't know the truth, a lie seems to be entertaining. Because do they know it's a lie? No. You don't know the truth, you're going to be deceived and believe the lie. That's what happened. So they start thinking, why should I continue to live? Because all of these things are weighted down and you've drawn a conclusion. And that's when it hits deep. When that conclusion is, I don't need to live anymore. Now, and here's the sad thing about it. Are these people talking to anybody right now?
No. They're isolated.
They're isolated. So all of this whole process is happening in their mind. They're not talking to anybody. And they start what? Withdrawing. They start withdrawing. And then, my friend, once that happens, their mind opens up. Once they believe that I no longer should live, then their mind opens up of how to end it. Of how to end it. So, I wanted you first to understand how this thing happens. How does this thing happen? It's a slow thing, process. So now, any questions? Any questions before we switch gears? So, let's end up with this. Let's talk about some proactive strategies. Let's talk about some proactive strategies to get you to guard your heart. Because that's the whole essence of living, is protecting these three vital things inside of you. But you got to know the truth first. You can't protect something you don't know. So you got to get the truth of it. And once you get the truth of it, then you got to protect it. So proactive strategies to guard your soul. The first one is you got to go back and you got to rediscover your identity. That's why Romans 12:2 says, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You got to go back and get your true self. And you got to fight against that because basically the truth you know about you is truly going to be different from what everybody else. And you got to fight that. But you got to go back to understand your true identity, that you are made. So let's write this down, your true identity. What is your true identity?
We're made in the image
You
of
are
God.
made in the image of God, and you are designed to have a relationship with the one who designed you. Every design is has a close relationship with the one that designed it. That's your identity. It's to get back and understand how you were designed, but also have a relationship with the one that designed you. That is not far-fetched. That's how everything is set up. Everything that is designed has a close relationship with the designer. I like that. I like that. That's the first thing. Now, once you get that, you gotta what? Protect it. Once you realize, wait a minute, I am made in the image of God, and I was designed to succeed in my life. I have a relationship with the one who designed me, and I gotta protect that. That's the first thing you gotta develop and you gotta keep. The next thing is you need to discover and fulfill your what?
Purpose.
That's why we are so adamant in this ministry about people knowing their purpose. Because the absence of purpose is dysfunction. The absence of purpose is dysfunction. If you don't know how you are designed, you are truly subject to dysfunction in your life. That's why it's important to know how you were designed, to know why you were put on this earth. It's imperative that you take the time. Definitely, you have several people in this ministry that can help you with that. So Facebook Live, if anyone is watching and you're saying, wow, Dr. Banks, I don't know this, my friend, we can help you with that. We can help you discover your purpose. It doesn't have to take the next 5 years to do that. We can help you to discover it. But it's imperative. So, y'all talk back to me. Why do you think it's so important to understand what your identity is and what your purpose is?
Just for the things my kids are here, can you tell them what the I ams are so they can write that down?
The I ams. The I ams.
I am loved.
Oh, yes. All right. So, basically, your identity is connected with 3 needs that needs to be fulfilled. We're all born with 3 questions in our lives. And the 3 questions is what? Am I what? Am I loved? Next. Am I accepted? Third. Am I significant? Those are 3 basic questions that all of us are born with. Am I loved? Am I accepted? And am I significant? Now, it's important to have somebody in your life, preferably your parents or a parental figure, to help change. You can't change those by yourself. As a child, even if you try to change them, you wouldn't fully believe them. So you need somebody to change those am I's to what? I am. So you need someone to speak in your life to let you know, I am loved. I am accepted. And I am significant.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. So again, why are these 2 important?
If you don't know your identity and you don't know your purpose, you basically spend your life just kind of wandering aimlessly in the world, because Who am I and what am I supposed to be doing?
That's right. That's right. Now, as he was saying this, see, when you don't know who you are, bullying becomes a major issue in your life. When you don't know your identity, then being bullied, because I just cannot, I'm just really struck with some of the teenagers getting bullied online and them committing suicide. Now, it was like years ago, it was like it would take a whole lot of these things to make somebody get to that point. But now, half as much. It doesn't take a whole lot weighing down, half as much now. And people are entertaining that thought of suicide. So that's why it's important. Parents, make sure you confirm to your children their true identity. That's our responsibility. Because if you don't do it, I promise you, social media will. And friends will. So, rediscovering your identity. Discover and fulfill your purpose. But look at this one. Write this one down. Self-reflection and proper management. This is not something, friend, this is not something we're doing. Self-reflection and management. We got to guard your mindset from negativity. So you need to do some reflection and refuse to allow yourself to fill yourself up with negativity. You got to guard against that. You may say, well, I'm not being negative, but my friend, if you're hanging around negativity, it's just like secondhand smoke. You're not smoking, but you hang around people that are smoking, you still end up with lung cancer. My friends, the second thing is secondhand negativity. Secondhand negativity. That's a new term in the earth realm. You ready to say, well, Dr. Banks, I'm not negative. All right, well, you better check who you're hanging around. You could be affected with secondhand negativity. My friends, weed yourself out from negativity. Now people say, well, I'm not negative. I'm just calling it like I see it. I'm just being real. My friend, be careful with negativity. Because it can easily slip in on you. Choose your friends wisely, young people. I always tell my children, it's best to have a small number of friends instead of trying to be loved by everybody. My friend, trying to be loved by everybody gets you in a whole lot of trouble. So choose your friends wisely. Because whoever you hang around the most, that's what you will become.
Amen.
And we got to help our youth understand. And, social media is not helping because we feel so empowered when we got a whole lot of friends following us. I mean, the friends you got, oh man, I got thousands of followers. Be careful with that, my friend. Because this is what happens, my friend. When you have a lot of friends, you're going to be tempted with peer pressure. See, when you got a lot of friends, you're going to get pressured with peer pressure. Because all your friends doing it, so you're going to feel like, Well, if I want to stay friends, what do I got to do?
Join in with it.
I got to join it. But see, when you have a few friends, see, you can monitor that. But when you got a lot of friends, that's a lot of pressure. When 20 of your friends saying, hey, let's go do this. And you say, no, no, look at that pressure you got to deal with. You scared. Come on, you don't want to hang with us? Oh, see, you just, and that peer pressure, all 20 eyes just looking at you. You gonna go? You gonna go with us?
Okay.
That's true.
It's true.
Okay.
And then what? You succumb to it. All right. All right. Even though I don't want to go, but I don't want to.
Stand up.
I don't want to stand out.
Yeah.
So I
Be a
might.
disruptor.
So I might as well ride with them. But then you got to realize, guilt by.
Okay.
So whatever goes down, it's too late to say, well, I really didn't want to go in the first place.
You there now.
You at the scene, my friend. You at the scene and you on the scene.
Yeah.
It's too late to say, well, I didn't really want to come. It's too late.
Yeah.
You're there.
Should have never came.
So my friend, just be careful with friends. Because you got to realize friends are in your life for a reason and a season. And you just got to figure out very quickly which one. Because it's just, especially with the young people, it's just too many of our youth getting caught up in the wrong things. All due to what? Peer pressure. Now, it looked like when we grew up, we had peer pressure, but it looked like it's different now. It looked like it's different.
It's different because they got the world in the palm of their hand. See, we had 20 friends. We had to make friends. We had 20 friends instantly on Facebook.
Right.
That's right. Good word. Good word. Yeah, we had to actually go out and make them, create them. Hi, my name is. Let me get to know you. But now you put something crazy on Instagram, you get 20,000 likes.
Wow.
Wow. So we got to guard. But look at this one, my friend. This is another thing we're not doing too well. We're not managing our emotions. So you get this, and see, you don't manage your emotions, but your emotions will tell you to do things.
Yes.
But since I feel like nobody loves me, maybe I should just end my life. And instead of you managing that, you do what? Succumb to it. See, we gotta learn how to manage emotions. We have just been taught to feel, but not manage. Ooh, I like that. Write that down. That's one reason why I kind of got out of counseling, because counseling was the whole focus of how do you what? Feel. Instead of telling people, I understand how you feel, but there is a manner of how you should feel. You should be living in peace and joy. That is your overall state of how you should feel. And you need to manage yourself to get to that. All right. Here's another one. Is having an accountability partner. You need somebody in your life that can ask you some hard questions. See, isolation is the trick of the enemy. Isolation is a trick of the enemy. That's what the enemy wants you to do, isolate yourself. And your mind, Satan start telling you, you don't need to tell nobody your business. You do something crazy, everybody gonna know it.
Yes.
So you need to stop thinking that you need to hide your business. So my friend, we gotta do this one better. We gotta start allowing some people in our life. But see, this is the problem. See, society says friends. Now you need somebody that is going to hold you accountable.
Right.
Because friends are really set up to somebody you can relate to. Write that down. See, that's what friends are. I need somebody that I can what? Relate. So when I'm struggling, guess what they doing? They struggling too. If I'm lonely, they what? They lonely too. So I need somebody. You think, well, I need somebody that can relate. No, you don't. You don't need somebody that can relate to you. You need somebody that can hold you accountable. I promise you, my friend, if we held each other accountable, we can reduce the rate of suicides.
Amen.
Asking the hard question, making sure when you don't see somebody, when you see them kind of start drifting away, just, hey, what's going on? We could reduce a whole lot of this. So I encourage you to get somebody in your life, not somebody that can understand you, have somebody that can challenge you. See, we always want, well, I want y'all to understand what I'm going through. Sooner or later, you need somebody to say, okay, let me see if I can help you get on through it. My friend, that's what we need. Accountability partners. So my friend, partners, this is what we need to understand. This can be dealt with.
Amen.
The students, partners, got where I was. But we got to understand some of these things. And we got to understand what people are dealing with. So I want you to be a little bit more, I want you to make sure you take care of these three things in your own life. All right? You make sure that you take care of these three things in your own life, that you're making sure. Do I know what my identity is? Am I truly living by the way I was designed versus listening to what everybody else think I should be? Do I really know what my identity is? Am I really living out my purpose? And also, am I making sure that I am living in the realm of peace and joy? Partners, that's your responsibility to make sure you're living that. And then you got to take it to another level, is to make sure other people are living like this. Making sure other people understand what their identity is. Making sure, and it's just asking those questions. Asking questions. Do you know what your purpose is? Do you really know why you were placed inside the earth? And just instead of asking people how they feel, don't ask people that. How do you feel? Because either they're going to tell you what?
I'm okay. I'm fine.
I'm fine. Or they'll say, I'm kind of down. But either way, you need to navigate them back to peace and joy. When they say, I'm kind of depressed, instead of saying, well, I understand, I've been depressed too. No, okay, what needs to happen? I need you to talk about it, because we need to get you back in the area of peace and joy. You see? You're trying to always, this is so great. You kind of down, all right? Let's talk about it. Get them talking. Write that down. Get them talking. Because see, when they start talking, so if they got this misconception of who they are, well, you get them talking, all right? Talk to me. then they start saying, all right, I feel like I'm a nobody. Now, when they start talking, your responsibility first is listening. Don't correct them yet. All right? Don't say, no, I know you say you're a nobody, but you are awesome. They're not ready for that. Because where are they going to put it? Where are they going to put it?
Not in there because it's too old.
So you immediately trying to say, no, you're awesome, this. They're not ready for that. You got to first let them what?
Get that stuff out.
Let's go ahead and talk. Well, I feel like I'm a nobody, okay? What else? What else? Oh, I feel like I'm terrible. All right. Let it get it out. Once they get it out, then you can start slowly what? Hey, let's think about something. Now, what I always do is let's start with the obvious. Write this down. Let's do this. Let's start with the obvious. Now, this is what I do when I do in my training. I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to stand up. And I said, I want you to look at your feet. Which direction are they moving? Forward. All right. When you look out, which direction are you looking? Forward. I said, all right, touch your shoulders and look back down. Look at this. How are you physically designed to move in which direction? Isn't that interesting? So I don't care how many problems you're dealing with, look at how you are designed. See, the word design. Can they fight that?
No.
Can they just say, well, Miss Kathy, she thinks I'm awesome. That ain't gonna work. But when you can say, look at how you're physically designed. So they're not gonna say, well, Miss Kathy feels like I'm designed to move forward. That don't make any sense. But when they say, I'm designed to move forward. Guess what you just did?
There's something positive in there.
Now you got something positive. You know, you are designed to move forward. So guess what? Regardless of whatever you're dealing with, your original design stays intact. Look at that. So I don't care what you have been through, you are still designed to move forward. My friend, do you see what you just put inside of them? So they're going to leave your presence thinking, wow, wait a minute, I am designed to move forward. See, my friend? Start with the basic. I call it basic observation. Just start with that. And once you get that in them, guess what they can do for themselves?
Put some more positive.
Come on, somebody.
Put some positive in.
They can fill their own cup. So when somebody comes to them later and say, well, you're stupid. You got a lot of problems. What are they going to do? I think I'm kind of designed to move forward.
So get thee behind me.
So I think I'm getting ready to do it right now. What did they just do? Protect.
They protect.
See that? They protected it. My friend, this is how you get this down. And then, my friend, the will. Man, I just feel like I'm not good at anything. I mean, you've heard that before. Man, I just feel like I'm not good at anything. I'm not smart at anything. I can't do this. I can't do that. What did I say when they start talking?
Let them talk.
Listen. Listen.
Listen.
Just listen. Because what are you trying to do? Go ahead and what?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Now once it's empty, then you can say, all right. What is one problem you see in society that burdens you? What is one problem you see in society that burdens you? Let them what? Think. Man, I hate when people are abused. I hate when people are taken advantage of. Okay, see, I like that. See, I like that. Okay? Now, what population do you see that bothers you? And they give their population. Then you say, whoever this population, well, I hate to see when girls are taken advantage of. I hate to see that. I hate to see when girls are taken advantage of. Okay? All right? Now, if you had a population of these girls that's been taken advantage of, what would you say to them? What would you say to them? Well, I would tell them that they are wonderful and they're beautiful. Okay, very good, very good. Now, let's think of ways of how you could do that. Would you like to motivate them, encourage them, this and that? Man, I would like to motivate and challenge women to help them to know that they are beautiful. What have they just discovered? What have they just discovered?
Purpose.
Their purpose. Right? Do y'all see this? See, we make this thing complicated. It ain't complicated. You just gotta know the right questions. So now, guess what? Now you gotta what? They already know what? I'm designed to what?
Move forward.
I'm designed to move forward. Now they got that. Now what they got now?
I got a purpose.
Okay, I got a purpose. Yes, that's what I would love to do. Motivate and encourage women to let them know that they are powerful, this and that. Now, check this out. Look how this works. Look how this works. Once they know who they are and why they are in the earth, guess what this gonna happen?
Gonna fill up place.
Now, since you know why you in the earth and you know what you're supposed to do in the earth, you ain't got to talk about this one. Huh? Y'all see how this works? You ain't got to talk about this one because now you can sit back and say, okay, I know I'm designed to move forward and I know why I'm in the earth. My friend, this right here is going to happen automatically. It's going to happen automatically. Then you all ask, okay, now since you know why, how you're designed. I'm designed to move forward. Now, why you're in the earth. I have a purpose. Now it's time to ask the question, now, how do you feel since you know this? Oh man, I feel good. See, we ask, how do you feel at the wrong time? We ask, how do you feel before they know the knowledge? That's why they feel terrible. Because they're what? Ignorant of the truth. But once you know the truth, then how do you feel? Oh, I feel good now. All right. Partners, this is how we reduce this suicide stuff. The reason why it's happening because this misbelief of the deficit of these three. Once we help them to get these three back, then they're going to realize what? There is a reason for me to be on this earth. I got to help this person. I got to help this person right here. I got to help these women who've been abused. I got to help them. That's why I'm on the earth. So when the thought of suicide comes, guess what? They know how to what? I ain't doing nothing crazy. I got to protect myself. So that's how we got to do this. I got to tell you this story. I remember a lady came into my office. She was in an abusive relationship. And I kept sowing this word into her. You're going to make it. Every time she would come to the session, I would pray with her. She would tell me what's going on. And at the end of every session, I would always say, you're going to make it. You're going to make it. And I remember she came to me one day and she said, Dr. Banks, I want to thank you for you helping me. She said, I had a dream a couple of nights ago. I had a dream. And in this dream, this person, I was in this relationship, they were running after me. and they abused me, and I was just running, and she said, Dr. Banks, I got to the point, I got tired, and I wanted to give up. So she said, I ran into this cave, and I sat down, and just like, I'm tired. I can't keep doing this. And she said, right in the dream, as I was sitting down, there was a knife right there. And she just said, I'm just tired of running. I'm tired of running, and I probably just want to just end it. So she said she picked up the knife, and she was getting ready to cut her throat. And all of a sudden, in the dream, she heard my words, you can make it. And she woke up. Set her free. We still, she got out of that terrible relationship, got married, has 2 or 3 beautiful children. We still keep in contact with her, and that was over 20 years ago. My friend, the power of knowing how to help this out. You see this? I want to take some time. I want to pray for the children. I want the children to come up. Now, adults, the reason I'm praying for children, adults, I need you to know how to take these principles and apply them. Yeah, bring them. Yeah, I want all the children. We're going to pray for the children. Because we know